Hey, this is Chelsea Dupre, host of CJ and Sal. Thanks for listening to the following podcast on Public House Media.
Hello, my name's Kim Meyer, host of Choose to Rise. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. And when you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Choose to Rise, where I talk all about finding your inner strength, improving confidence, and loving who God made you to be. I bring tips and strategies and things that have helped me rise up to be my current best self, and hope that you can do the same. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can find my show on Apple Podcasts, publichousemedia.org, and chooseToRiseUp.com. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming shows. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and I am a passionate tiny human healer and fired up health and happiness coach, here to deliver a simple message to you. This podcast is meant to provide a hope and a dream that fuels your soul to dream big and to dream bold and to empower and inspire you to live out your wildest dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more. Guys, happy Tuesday. I'm so grateful you're here. I hope you are tuning in on your favorite podcast app, whether it's Spotify or iTunes. I just am so grateful that you're here. I hope you clicked the subscribe button. I hope you've left. You guys, you know me, you love me. We're here being real and raw. I hope you've left a rating or review and just have told me what you've connected with or how this podcast has helped you, because that's my mission. That's the entire goal of this podcast. That's why it's here as a platform for you guys. And I'm just so grateful, so stinking grateful that you are all here. So as we dive into this episode, I just want to connect with your heart. I want to connect with who you are as a person. And I want you to know that I hear you, that I see you, that I feel you, and that whatever it is right now that you're going through, you know how it ends. And you guys are probably like, what? Where did that even come from? How do you know? How do I know how it's going to end? This is a tough season in my life, and this is a hard predicament, and this is a place where I don't know. It's uncharted territory. Stop, breathe, relax. Yes, you do. You know exactly how it's going to end. And you want to know why? Because you've been here before. Maybe not this exact season, maybe not this exact trial or tribulation that you're going through or predicament that you're stuck in. I want to empower you to know that you have been here before, that you have been in a place where you've been uncertain, you've been lost, you've been confused, you maybe potentially couldn't figure out words to say to the person or to God if you like to pray, or just you're at a standstill in your life, in your situation, and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I don't know how I'm going to overcome this. I don't know how this story is going to end. And I challenge you to think back on difficult times in your life. I think back, and you guys hear my story. I tell you guys all the time. If I think back to a difficult time, I would think back to the time that I was getting divorced, or I was in the midst of figuring out if I needed to be divorced. And that was a very hard, abusive, toxic relationship. But at the same time, I know the person that I am. I am a fighter. I don't like to quit. I don't like to give up. And I didn't know how the story was going to end because I thought that was going to be my life forever. I didn't think that I was going to be strong enough to stand on my own 2 feet and walk away when I needed to. And then when I got to the place where I was strong enough, or I just said enough is enough, and I was able to find the courage and bravery in that moment. You know how last week we talked about stepping into fear. When I found courage and bravery and stepped into the fear of that, I was able to understand that I knew that I was going to leave. It was just a matter of when. I knew I deserved more. It was just a matter of me owning that. I knew that this situation couldn't continue on the way that it was going. I knew all of that. I knew how it was going to end. I just was afraid to step into it. Or if I think about a time recently, I think about my pregnancy, and I think about how, somebody had asked me, like, do you want more kids? The answer is no. And there's a whole compilation of things that is the reason why I say no. And, life goes in different circles, and it could always change. I know your answer is always evolving. You're always evolving. We're ever changing. But my answer right now is no. And if I think back to why, and I think back, I really did some digging, because people were like, why? And I'm sitting there like thinking, oh no, it's because I had a natural labor. I don't want to do that again. No, the truth is that pregnancy was the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. I don't wish it on another human person. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. And it wasn't that the pregnancy itself was hard. It was the emotions attached to the pregnancy. And the emotions that are attached to the pregnancy make me think that I never want to go through that again. And that is a hard pill for me to swallow, because I love my daughter. I love everything about her. She's the love of my life. And I think about how I was so scared about how everything was going to go. And I was so scared about the judgment of it all. I was so scared because I didn't know how it was going to end. But at the end of the day, I did. I knew that at the end, even though I was so afraid about everything, like, when you're 6 months, you're like thinking about the delivery, and you're thinking about this, and you're thinking about that. At the end of the pregnancy, a baby's going to be born. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. A baby is going to come out of your body. It's just what's happened. So there's certainty in the uncertainty. So at the end of that, I knew I was going to have a baby girl. So then I sat there and I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, this is such a difficult part of my life. And then I think about, I was afraid of her as a newborn and how that was going to all look and how that was all going to go. And then at the end of it, she's a newborn. She's here. We've gotten through that phase. She's 4 months old. And I'm sitting there like, you know how the story ends. It's just a matter of overcoming that fear. So I think what I'm trying to convey to you is, in your season, in your life right now, it's temporary, right? And I know that better than anybody, because I've explained to you, I was ready to make a permanent decision to a temporary problem. And for me, that's a big statement. So if I think about the pregnancy, that was temporary. It's 9 months, 10 months, and it's done. I think about her being as a newborn. It's a couple months, and then it's done. I think about her in the phases of whether she's, not sleeping or teething or whatever. Like, these are all phases, and they all have an end date. Guys, your struggle, your season, your turmoil has an end date. Whatever it is that you've been through in your life, think back on it. You struggled with, not being able to pay your bills, and then you got an end date, you paid the bill. However you figured out how to do it, it was hard, but you got it done. Or you thought about when you went to school. If you're like me, I went and continued my education, so I went longer than 4 years, but anybody who went through college or even high school, you started as a freshman and you ended as a senior. There's an end date. You don't know how it's going to end, but you know that it's going to end, right? You know that you don't know every intricate detail of the story, but you know that you're going to start as a freshman, you're going to end as a senior, you're going to graduate, and you're going to move on. You know how the story ends. So this is what I had to tell myself in my own life. In the midst of the struggle, it is hard. It is hard, guys. You sit there and you're like, I don't know why I'm fighting. I don't know why this keeps happening to me. I don't know why I have to feel this way. I want it over. I can't do this anymore. I just feel like, X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden, you keep going through it. You show up consistently. And you try to get yourself better every single day. And then guess what? You're at the end of the storm. And guess what? You didn't die. Guess what? You are here. You are alive because you're listening to this podcast. that's the same thing as if you're going through a stage of grief. Yeah, you're going to grieve the person you lost. And guess what? It's going to get to a point where the grief isn't going to be as bad. Or you're sitting there and you're going through loss, whether you went through a divorce or you went through like losing a child or something is going on. I'm not saying that season isn't hard, but you know how it's going to end. And here's how. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to come out on top. You're going to know that you are amazing. You are going to know that you can still stand on your own 2 feet. You're going to be okay. At the end of the day, you are going to be okay. Guys, I need you to know that. I need you to hear that. There are really hard situations. There are really hard seasons. But I need you to remember that the universe has your back. I need you to remember that God is not here to punish you every step of the way. I need you to realize that the energy you put out, it's going to come back, and it's going to be a positive light that is just shined over your life. You need to know that you can get through anything, and that you know exactly how the story is going to end because you've been here before. I know sometimes it just gets hard. I know in the midst of, if you are struggling with depression or suicidal thoughts or anxiety, you just feel like, man, when is it going to end? When is this season going to be over? I can't do this anymore. I want you to understand that you can. I want you to understand that you can get through it. I want you to understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I want you to understand that there is an end date. But in the midst of it all, in the midst of you going through what you're going through, I need you to remember one thing. You will be okay. Soul sisters, gentlemen, I want you to know that I love you. I want you to hear me every single Tuesday. Remind you of the things that you know. Remind you of the beauty you have in your life, and to help you with tangible things that you can implement into your life. And today, I want you to implement right now the thought process of whatever you're going through, that reminder that you are going to be okay. Even if it's a reminder on your phone that goes off every 4 hours, whether you're at work, whether you're with your kids, whatever you're doing, I need it to just be like, hey, like Mariah, you're amazing. It's going to be okay. Like, set it right now. When you're done with this podcast, set something that's going to remind you to feel that way. Because I know in the day in, day out, hustle and bustle of what you're doing with your life and how you're feeling, you need that reminder. This is your morning reminder, your afternoon reminder, your evening reminder. You are going to be okay because you know how it ends. I am just going to breathe life and passion and love into you. You are wanted. You are needed. You are worthy. You are loved. And you are more than enough. Keep fighting. Your story isn't over. You know how it ends. And you will be okay.